Welcome back to our channel, passionate fans of daytime drama. Today is a beautiful day to dive deep into the glamorous, scandalous, and relentlessly thrilling world of Los Angeles' most elite families. Grab your favorite beverage, settle into a comfortable spot, and let us unpack the latest explosive twists that are shaking the very foundations of the Spencer and Forrester dynasties. The echoing silence of the beach house has recently become a haunting symphony of despair for Will Spencer. Once a sunlit sanctuary where he and Electra Forrester dreamed of a future together, the oceanfront property has morphed into a dark, suffocating prison of his own making. Following the catastrophic events at the Bikini Bar, where a drunken brawl with R.J. Forrester resulted in Will accidentally delivering a severe blow to the face of the Forrester patriarch, Eric, Will's life has completely unraveled. Electra, horrified by the violence and the deception surrounding the Logan corporate secrets, permanently severed their relationship, throwing her necklace at him before walking out the door. Left in the wake of this devastating loss, Will has spiraled into a profound depression, seeking solace at the bottom of a bottle. However, the true danger lurking in the shadows of the beach house is not the alcohol, but the calculated, predatory presence of Melissa Dillon. Melissa Dillon has expertly positioned herself as the ultimate opportunist. Shedding her former facade of the innocent, struggling assistant, she has locked her sights onto the immense wealth and power of the Spencer family. After bragging to her co-worker Jessica at the Bikini Bar about her intimate night on Will's sofa, Dillon has made it her singular mission to become the next Mrs. Will Spencer. She has played the role of the devoted savior to perfection, offering a shoulder to cry on and a sympathetic ear as Will drowns his sorrows. But beneath this veneer of sweet, unwavering support lies a cold, calculating mind that views human vulnerability not as a tragedy to be healed, but as a weakness to be ruthlessly exploited. And unfortunately for Dillon, she is about to learn the hard way that you never underestimate a mother's intuition, especially when that mother is Katie Logan Spencer. The atmosphere inside the beach house was thick with the acrid scent of stale alcohol and unresolved grief when Katie arrived to check on her youngest son. The fierce, protective matriarch had been beside herself with worrying ever since Will's violent outburst and subsequent banishment from the Forrester family. She knew that the crushing weight of the corporate war between Logan and Forrester Creations had taken a devastating toll on him. As Katie stepped into the living room, her heart shattered at the sight before her. Will was passed out on the sofa, his features twisted in a grimace of emotional agony, surrounded by empty bottles that served as a testament to his rapid decline. The vibrant, intelligent young man she had raised was fading away, replaced by a hollow shell consumed by guilt and heartbreak. As Katie moved quietly through the room, beginning the heartbreaking task of cleaning up her son's destructive mess, her eyes fell upon a designer handbag carelessly left on the armchair. She instantly recognized it as belonging to Melissa Dillon. Katie's initial reaction was a surge of visceral disgust. She had already experienced a highly friction-filled encounter with Dillon, her maternal instinct screaming that this girl was nothing but trouble. Katie knew about Dillon's fake alias, Nancy, and the manipulative way she had infiltrated Will's life just as his relationship with Electra was imploding. Wanting to simply move the bag out of the way, Katie reached for it, but her hand slipped. The bag tumbled to the hardwood floor, spilling its contents across the rug. Among the makeup compacts and keys, a sleek silver tablet slid out, its screen illuminating upon impact. Katie bent down to retrieve the device, intending to simply shove it back into the bag. However, as her fingers brushed the screen, a document that had been left open caught her eye. The bold, meticulously organized headers seemed to scream at her from the glowing display. Curiosity, fueled by a mother's desperate need to protect her child, overrode any sense of privacy. Katie picked up the tablet and began to read. What she discovered in those digital pages was not the innocent diary of a young woman in love, but a chilling, highly detailed blueprint for a hostile takeover of the Spencer family. The sheer magnitude of the deception laid bare before her was enough to make the blood freeze in her veins. The notes on the tablet were a master class in psychological manipulation. Dylan had created comprehensive profiles on the key members of the Spencer dynasty, outlining their weaknesses, their current emotional states, and the exact strategies required to exploit them. Under the section dedicated to Will, the notes were particularly sickening. Dylan had meticulously documented his current vulnerability, noting his deep-seated insecurities following the rejection by Elektra and the Forrester family. The instructions she had written for herself were cold and precise. Maintain presence during depressive episodes. Do not discourage alcohol consumption. Dependency increases reliance on me. Validate his anger toward Ridge and R.J. Forrester. Position myself as the only person who truly understands his pain. It was a calculated agenda designed to isolate Will from his support system and bind him exclusively to her. As Katie's trembling fingers scrolled further down the screen, the horrifying reality of Dylan's ambitions became even more apparent. The girl did not love Will. There was not a single mention of affection, romance, or genuine care in the entirety of the document. To Melissa Dillon, Will Spencer was nothing more than a pawn, a golden key that would unlock the gates to a vast treasure chest of unimaginable wealth and status. But the manipulation did not stop with Will. The tablet also contained a deeply disturbing section dedicated to the patriarch of the Spencer family, Dollar Bill himself. Dylan had analyzed Bill's massive ego and his current distraction with the corporate war against Forrester Creations. Her strategy for Bill was outlined with terrifying clarity, appealed to his hatred of the Forresters. Present myself as a fiercely loyal ally to the Spencer brand. Use his desire to sever Will's ties to the Forrester family to gain his approval of our relationship. Katie stood frozen in the center of the beach house, the tablet heavy in her hands, as a wave of profound nausea washed over her. The sweet, supportive girl who had been pouring Will's drinks and stroking his hair was a predator, methodically executing a plan to drain him of his fortune and his soul. A fierce, blinding maternal rage ignited within Katie. The urge to march over to the sofa, shake Will awake, and shove the tablet into his face was nearly overpowering. She wanted to scream, to expose the gold digger for the monster she truly was, and to throw Melissa Dillon out of the beach house and out of their lives forever. But as Katie looked at her son, broken and vulnerable in his drunken stupor, a sudden, chilling realization forced her to pause. If Katie acted on impulse, if she unleashed her fury right now, it could backfire with catastrophic consequences. Will was currently existing in a state of profound emotional fragility and rebellious defiance. He felt abandoned by Elektra, judged by the Forresters, and misunderstood by the world. In his twisted, alcohol-fueled reality, Melissa Dillon was the only person offering him unconditional acceptance. If Katie were to attack Dillon directly, Will's instinct might be to play the white knight. He might view Katie's intervention as just another attempt by his family to control his life, pushing him further into Dillon's waiting arms. Katie realized with a sinking heart that exposing the truth was not enough. Will had to see it for himself. He had to realize that the comfort he was clinging to was nothing but a toxic illusion. Drawing upon the formidable strategic mind that had made her a powerhouse in the fashion industry, Katie made an agonizing decision. She would not confront Melissa Dillon. She would not reveal that she had discovered the tablet or the sickening blueprint it contained. Instead, she would carefully place the device back into the handbag exactly as she had found it, and she would wait. Katie Logan Spencer was going to set a trap. She would silently weave a web of her own, allowing Dillon to continue her performance, giving the gold digger just enough rope to eventually hang herself. Katie would orchestrate a scenario where Dillon's true motives would be exposed in a way that Will could not deny, a revelation so undeniable that it would shatter the illusion forever. However, the decision to play the long game came with an excruciating emotional cost. As Katie placed the tablet back into the bag and quietly left the beach house, she was consumed by relentless, gnawing anxiety. The waiting game meant leaving her son in the clutches of a manipulator. It meant watching from the sidelines as Will sank deeper into his depression, numbing his pain with alcohol while Dylan whispered sweet, poisonous lies into his ear. Every day that passed would be a torture for Katie, knowing that the woman comforting her son was actively plotting his financial and emotional ruin. The fear for Will's safety, for his mental and physical well-being, threatened to consume her every waking thought. The dynamic between Will and Dylan in the coming days will be a harrowing spectacle of manipulation. Dylan, entirely unaware that her playbook has been compromised, will undoubtedly escalate her efforts. She will continue to enable Will's destructive behavior, pouring his drinks and offering physical affection that is entirely devoid of genuine emotion. She will subtly feed his resentment toward RJ and Electra, ensuring that the bridge back to his former life remains burned to ashes. Will, blinded by grief and the haze of alcohol, will lean heavily on this false support, mistaking Dylan's calculated presence for true loyalty. He is a young man drowning in a stormy sea, desperately clinging to an anchor that is secretly designed to drag him straight to the bottom. Katie's secret knowledge puts her in a uniquely powerful, yet incredibly dangerous position. She must navigate this treacherous landscape with extreme caution, ensuring that neither Will nor Bill suspects her underlying agenda. Bill Spencer, currently reveling in the massive success of the Hope by Logan launch and his escalating war with Ridge Forrester, has already expressed his approval of Will moving on from Electra. Bill views Dylan as a convenient wedge to permanently sever Will's ties to the Forrester clan. If Katie were to involve Bill prematurely, his explosive temper and ruthless tactics might blow the entire situation out of proportion, potentially alienating Will even further. Katie must act as a silent guardian, a shadow operating behind the scenes to orchestrate Dylan's ultimate downfall. She may find a crucial ally in Wyatt Spencer. Wyatt has already demonstrated a deep concern for his younger brother's well-being, aggressively confronting Will about his unhealthy obsession with Electra and warning him about the dangers of his involvement with Dylan. Wyatt knows that Dylan previously used the fake alias Nancy, a massive red flag that indicates a history of deception. Katie could subtly guide Wyatt, feeding his existing suspicions and using him as a pawn to help spring the trap. Together, they could create a situation that forces Dylan to make a critical error, exposing her greed and her lack of genuine feeling for Will in a public, undeniable manner. The psychological warfare that is about to unfold will be nothing short of spectacular. Melissa Dylan believes she is the smartest person in the room, a master manipulator who has successfully infiltrated one of the most powerful families in Los Angeles. She is confident that her beauty, her feigned innocence, and her calculated sympathy will secure her a life of unimaginable luxury, but she has made a fatal miscalculation. She has underestimated the fierce, unwavering love of a mother. Katie Logan Spencer has survived heart transplants, corporate betrayals, and the darkest of family tragedies. She is a survivor, a warrior who will stop at nothing to protect her blood. Dylan's meticulously crafted blueprint is now in the hands of her worst nightmare. As the days turn into weeks, the tension at the beach house will reach a boiling point. The contrast between Will's genuine, raw agony and Dylan's cold, calculated performance will become increasingly stark. Katie will have to endure the agonizing sight of her son's deterioration, biting her tongue and biding her time until the perfect moment arrives. The trap she is setting must be flawless. It must not only expose Dylan as a gold digger, but also serve as a harsh, undeniable wake-up call for Will, forcing him to confront his own destructive behavior and the reality of his shattered life. It will be a painful, necessary intervention, a surgical strike designed to excise the cancer of Melissa Dylan from the Spencer family once and for all. The stage is set for an epic, emotionally devastating confrontation. The beach house, currently a haven for deception and drunken despair, will soon become the battleground where the future of Will Spencer is decided. Will Katie's trap succeed in opening her son's eyes, or will the revelation push him entirely over the edge? Can Will survive the realization that the only person who stood by him during his darkest hour was actually his greatest enemy? And what will be the ultimate fate of Melissa Dillon when the full, terrifying wrath of the Spencer family is unleashed upon her? One thing is absolutely certain: the secrets hidden within that silver tablet have ignited a ticking time bomb. And when it finally detonates, the fallout will change the landscape of the bold and the beautiful forever. Stay tuned, because the drama is just getting started, and you will not want to miss a single heart-stopping second of this explosive storyline.